For this fly I'm using an Airex barbless dry fly traditional hook in a size 14. For the silk I'm using a spool of yellow vintage Purcell silk for both the underbody and the rib. For the body I'm using a small pinch of grey wool taken from a dyed wool top. For the tail I'm using blue dun hackle fibres, and for the hackle again I'm using blue dun. For the head I'm using a single strand of peacock herl. And now to dress the fly, simply come in with your tying silk and trap it down with 5 or 6 nice tight turns, probably about a millimetre back from the iron hook. And you want to leave yourself a nice long tag end of silk. For the tail, I now strip out a bunch of hackle fibres and now just try to judge the tail length by just carefully mounting those hackle fibres in. That's a bit too short, so I'll take another 5 or 6 tight turns of silk. And now again I judge those tails, and that looks about right there. So now I'll bind those tail fibres down with some nice tight turns of silk coming down the hook shank. And that's roughly the body length that I want there. Now I take my wool top and I'll just pinch out a nice pinch of dubbing. And because it's got a nice long staple, you don't need to wax the thread. It just dubs on very, very easily. So I just create a nice dubbing noodle. Just tighten it up a little bit. And now I start to form the dub body. Just take nice even turns and dub the body of the fly. If it starts to come loose, you can just tighten it back up. Now taking your tag end and rib it in nice symmetrical turns. Like so. And now trap that rib down with your tying silk. A couple of nice tight turns. Come in with your scissors and trim off the excess. And now we prepare our hackle. And what we do is we just strip out 4 or 5 fibres from the leading edge, like so. So that'll give you a nice, neat hackle when you start to make your initial turns. Trap the stalk down onto the hook with a few nice, firm turns of silk. And trim off that stalk end with your scissors. And now I'll just take another couple of turns of silk just to level that foundation of thread there. Taking your hackle either in hackle pliers or in your fingers. Just start to form the hackle for your fly. There's 1 or 2 stray fibres, you can just brush them out of the way. There we go. And once you're happy with the density of the hackle, come in with your tying silk and just bind that hackle down. There we go. Take your scissors, trim off the waist end. If you've got any stray hackle fibres, you can just cut them out now. And now we take our peacock herl, we mount that onto the hook just behind the eye with 3 or 4 nice firm turns of silk. And now come in with a marker pen and we just dull out that silk because we don't want to see the yellow silk in front of the peacock herl head. So I'll just dull that silk there. And now, taking my peacock herl, I'll start to form a nice herl head to the fly. You might trap a few fibres, but you can just move them out of the way. There's one there, just take that out. There we go. And just form a nice, small, neat peacock herl head. I'm happy with that, so now come in with my tying silk and I'll bind it down with 2 tight turns on top, and I'll throw another turn in front of that peacock herl there just to clean the eye of the hook. Come in with your scissors, trim off that peacock herl, and now with your whip finish tool just take a nice small neat whip finish, just a couple of turns, that's all you need. Tighten up your thread and now trim off the waist end. Come in with your fingernail and just give it a ping, and there we have Lupton's Fancy.